Alrighty, and we're back. So it's been a hot minute since the last video. My apologies, have just been super busy. So not much time in the day lately to get any videoing done or any sort of editing to even begin with. So we're gonna start off this video by giving a special shout out and thanks to the guys at Turbosmart. So as you would have seen recently, we're diving into Lisa's RX3 build and converting that from an NA13B to a turbo automatic fully rebuilt 13B project. So there's a little bit going on with it. It's escalated, but we're gonna need some goodies to not only manage the cruise control, fuel pressure, oil pressure to the turbo and things like that. So we've reached out to the guys at Turbosmart and they've come on board and done us a solid on all of these products here, which I'm gonna run you through today to just run you through what we're doing, why we need it, what it's gonna do, and what its job is. So let's go. First up in the big box here, we've got WG50 Gen V ProGate 50. So this part number comes with a 14 PSI wastegate spring, which will be absolutely enough to get us going. Like I said previously in other videos, we're not shooting for any sort of records. We just want this thing up and running, reliable, consistent, have good fun. Yeah, we don't need to go making 500 kilowatts or anything like that. If it makes anywhere between 250, 300, like I mentioned, it'll be enough. So check out this thing. We've gone for the black and silver anodized throughout. So it's going to have obviously the red and black where it worked well before. So yeah, we've gone with the black anodized Turbosmart 50mm ProGate. So that is a good start there, and it comes with springs in different colors to suit, but obviously if you put them all together, you get 14 PSI to control your boost, and it comes with a few V-bands as well to attach them to the manifold. Now, second up here, we've got the FPR8, which is as common as it can say. An FPR8 is basically just a -8 AN fuel pressure regulator. These are so compact, they're small in size, easy to mount anywhere in your engine bay, and they just do the job. I use one of these in my own car, in the VL, which is making, what, 1200 plus rear wheel horsepower, consistent 7-second car. So this will be ample enough to do the job on Lisa's little rotary. So we've gone ahead and got a black one of those, and we've also, that comes with a little mounting bracket, which is just a universal bracket. You can mount however you want, wherever you want. And then we went ahead and also got the FPRX billet bracket. So this is a black anodized billet bracket. We'll do a little unbox here, open it up. I haven't actually even opened this to see it yet, but once I've finished, I'll do a little close up for you to show you, but check out that anodized black. It's billet, will look nice, hidden away either up on the firewall or just in general. It's nice and neat, and it will just be a nice touch in the engine bay for the Mazda. Comes with a few stickers and a little barb fitting as well, and all the screws to mount the billet bracket. So we'll move that to the side. We've got the wastegate and fuel pressure sorted. We've also got the OPR T40, which is the oil pressure regulator. Now, I don't run one of these on my own car, as the LS in the VL doesn't make, you know, over 100 PSI of oil pressure or anything ridiculous. But with the turbo that we're going to run, and the rotaries are pretty notorious for making a fairly decent amount of oil pressure, we've gone ahead and got this. Now, this is for the turbo, so that we don't overpressurize the oil that's supplying to the turbo and end up pushing out any seals or creating any smoke. So that'll get mounted down towards the engine somewhere, and we'll obviously have the oil going into it from the engine and coming out, and we'll do that in probably all of our Raceworks Teflon line. What else we got here? Comes with a little bracket so you can mount that. It's got a circlip as well, so that mounts up from underneath, and it's neat. Nice little product there from them guys. Last but not least, we've got the race port. Now, you don't have to, but I like to do it. It's neat, works well. So this will go somewhere on the cold side on the intercooler piping, from the throttle body down to the intercooler. These are a really nice product. Again, going with the black anodized and silver. It's been done a million times, but it looks the best, in my opinion anyway. You can go red, purple. There's so many different colors available on their website. If you're not sure, jump onto Turbosmart, give it a quick search, And they got heaps of products from, you know, all different size race ports. You can get a stealth race port that's all black. They do an all grey, I believe, a limited edition one as well. But like I said, this will be more than enough to get us going, humming along the street and getting this little Mazda dosing the streets of Adelaide. We'll give you guys at home a little close-up so you can see the quality of these products. Tried and tested, proven, they all do the job, all work really well. So can't wait to get these onto the manifold and into the engine bay. It's gonna just complement everything else that we're going. Obviously, working towards a higher standard, nothing too crazy, but at the same time, keeping it nice and neat. And Turbosmart have been kind enough to help us out along the way with our journey, and we appreciate those guys for their support. This is that little bracket that goes with the FPR8 fuel pressure regulator. Just slips up here and you can basically tighten it to wherever you like to position the reg. And obviously comes with a little fitting, you can change those out. You can put a fuel pressure gauge in here, things like that. But once again, appreciate the guys at Turbosmart, really helpful. Get in contact with those guys. If you're not sure about anything that they do, go onto their website and check it out. Alrighty, so now that we've got the majority of that stuff there from Turbosmart, I can also get into, that'll help me a lot when I come to do the fabricating real soon. So while this has been happening, we've also had the engine block and the housings in at Chris Milton getting the machining done. So while we were there, we've done extra dowels and had the Bridgeport done to suit turbo and street. So it's not overkill on the Bridgeport. They've done a really good job. It was there for about between 2 to 4 weeks. They did a good job. Still got to go through and blend through all the Bridgeporting ports, but the majority of that stuff's done. Now we're just in the process of sourcing all the parts to get that all back together and happening. It's been pushed to the side, just been that busy between customers' cars, and then of course her car will come next, and then we've also got the VK in the background. So not a lot of progress been happening on that since the last video, as I wanted to try and push through on a series on the VK to keep you all interested. Yeah, just been super busy. We've been away. We've also in the process been up to Queensland, and we went to Jamboree. We also got to check out a tough field of Pro Mod and a few of our friends racing from Perth as well, which was really good. And of course, John Ricker from Race Parts Melbourne was racing his Pro Mod, which is actually still the fastest screw blown door car in the world. So that was really good to catch up with them and just to see the car in the flesh and catch up with a lot of our racing friends and community of the like. So like I said, hard to keep up on the updates on the VK, but since you've last watched, I don't think from here back was shown. So we'd stripped the front half and got this all ready to be blasted, which we haven't yet. It's just been super busy and not an overly big priority at the moment, but Lisa's been up here giving me a hand on Saturdays. So we've stripped off all the molds, door molds, interior is out, completely stripped, gutter molds gone, interior, like I said, carpet, everything. It's in pretty good condition, no nasty surprises so far. Still chipping away at obviously acquiring some parts, but like I said, not going too stupid just yet. Removed all the rear quarter windows, which were in pretty good condition. No extra nasties found or rust, which is really good. It's mainly just those front and rear screens, which are going to be the biggest thing to fix, which is no biggie. One thing I did want to touch on is I'm pretty sure this is factory. It doesn't look to have been an accident, but check out the blackouts from the factory. Just how rushed and I guess non-perfect they were. For anyone restoring a VK, you'll know that the blackouts and things like that on Holden Commodores, Tiranas, Monaros were never perfect out the factory. So this is a perfect example of a car probably built on a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon, but that is a long way off. So we'll probably have to put these blackouts back on the car, but it's always a good reference to go for something original, but maybe not this one. So something little like that. While recently we've also acquired a Holly harness. So picked up this from the guys at Precision International, was on special. Picked that up for an absolute bargain. I think they're normally about 1,200 bucks. Picked it up for just over 600. So This will all work when we go to wire up the car. This is a Suit LS2 6 litre and a Holly ECU. So I'll be putting a Holly ECU in the car, and without a doubt be getting Jeff Johnson to tune this thing up to make all the power and noises that it needs to do. So we'll get that happening as well. In terms of spending money on this car, I haven't gone crazy just yet, as I want to hold off on the spending and focus more on the labor intensive side of things, because the back half of this year is going to be very busy for me, and we're going away also on a decent holiday, which will be documented onto the channel. I don't want to say too much yet, but it's very exciting what's coming up. So like I said, I don't want to go pouring a heap of money into this thing when we've got some other things tied up that are going to be happening as well. So for the time being, this is the side project while I focus on to customers' jobs, which are definitely what comes first. So this Tirana is nearly finished. We're getting towards the end of things on this. So we've just finished doing a custom exhaust for it from front to back. So just a mild steel, nothing crazy. We've got polished mufflers and resonators. This is all completely in 3-inch mild steel, custom made X-pipe. The collectors were 2.5 inch, so we've merged that from a 2.5 up to 3, all the way to the diff. And then once it gets to the diff, reduced it down to 2.5. As once you go past LX Tirana fuel tanks with a 255 and at this ride height, too tight, and a 2.5 is more than ample. So this turned out really neat. It's been all metal finished, cleaned up, just MIG welded, and then at the resonators and mufflers, we've masked it up and painted that in just a VHT flameproof, and it come out really good. I'm very happy with it. Tailpipes are hanging up over there. We'll get those all tied up. It'll look really neat. Nothing over the top, but the owner didn't want anything crazy, but it's still going to be a nice touch. We look under the car and you can see the attention to detail and time spent just to get things nice and done right. So we've gone ahead and we've done a lot of work on this car, so it's come in with a fair decent list of everything from the fuel system to the exhaust. We've had the trans in and out a million times trying to get the angle of the engine and driveline right. We've had to modify the trans cross member and got all of that sorted. So we've just gone ahead and done a few touch-ups here and there, repainted the front half of the engine and fitted up the Mazda electric water pump, the War Speed alternator kit. And we've also changed those headers. So it had an 1 7/8 DIY kit on this car when it arrived, which was just like a CAE weld together kit yourself, but it was never going to work with the sump and the oil filter in the location that it is. So we head up Ryan at Advanced Headers at Holden Hill. They're only an 1 3/4 tri-wire, but you've got to remember bigger isn't always better. An 1 3/4, in my opinion, is more than enough. So this is just a head and cam 6 litre, which will make plenty enough power and still sound really good. So those drop straight in. However, on the driver's side, this car's had the steering column changed and upgraded to a bigger shaft, and it's got flaming river knuckles. So they're a little bit bigger, and the knuckle was up closer to the steering column than it was down. So that meant that we had to modify the driver's side pipe, as it was hitting on the driver's side, was hitting on the steering shaft. Even after banging it in, it looked crap. So I went ahead and cut that up, fabricated a new piece and TIG welded that all in. Turned out $1 million. So it's just those little things. When you get to a build like this and you reach towards the end, it's actually those last 10%, 5% of jobs that are actually a real pain in the ass and time consuming. So the owner's very understanding, has been very good along the way. So we're getting close to that. We had to also, with the driveline angles, the trans was sitting a long way up, which we had to droop down, but it was a fair way into the tunnel. So it came in with the tunnel cut, and we've gone ahead. I'll just show you quickly. I'm not sure if you'll see it. Just had to modify the side of the transmission tunnel just down here, just to relieve that for the power glide. So that's all sorted, turned out really good, just painted satin black and primed. We've also mounted up that B&M ratchet shifter for him, and we installed the console. If you haven't seen that, that is all on the Evans Racing Facebook page, where we have centered the reverse lockout lever to suit the brand new Tirana console that he provided. So today we finally removed the dummy trans and fitted in his good trans. The converter is in, flex plate, all ARP bolts throughout. And then we've just got to fit up the dipstick. It's going to be a nice subtle cruiser with a pro street look that absolutely is the way to go. Alrighty, well I think I've covered the majority of things I wanted to get across today. Once again, a special thanks to the guys at Turbosmart for supporting us with Lisa's little RX3. Yeah, I really appreciate when the guys come on board and support the small guys out there in little workshops, especially like us. You know, we're not some massive corporation or workshop smashing out heaps of builds. It's pretty much just me and my old man when he can come out here and give me a hand. So once again, appreciate the help from those guys, Raceworks, and the continued support from everyone that comes on board watching the channel. Yeah, it means a lot. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you all on the next one. Cheers, guys.